I think kids are playing too much basketball at an early age.
Hmm.
It's a catch-22 because if you don't work out and you don't play,
You gonna get
you get
behind.
behind the eight ball. You definitely see results. I'm coaching my kids and they're about to be 11, and there's kids that work out 4 to 5 days a week. And obviously they're more skilled and talented. But to me, I want the Twins to steadily improve and peak at the right time. To me, there's no point in being the best 11,
You
12-year-old,
want kids to be
13-year-old.
kids too.
Exactly. And I think that's what's lost in the mix is today parents and sometimes it's the kids want to do it too, but they kind of get that tunnel vision
Yeah.
and they're forced, I don't want to say the word forced, it might not be forced, but guided into just locking in and almost making it a job at an early age.
It's kind of crazy that you try to put that work hard, you have to do this mentality to a kid that's from 8 to 14 years old. I think it really makes no sense at that point. You gotta let them be a kid. You gotta let them understand how to be a teenager. You gotta let them go through puberty. You gotta let them, you know what I'm saying, go through
They
all
got
the
a lot
things.
of shit to do.
Yeah, got a lot of shit to do. I think when you get to the point where a kid like gets to the 11th, 12th grade where they can understand what working is, or to understand why he's putting in this work, and the guys that he's competing with, what they're doing, they'll understand it then. But at that age, from middle school to like 10th grade, it's hard for them to really comprehend.
It's too much, too fast, too young. You know what I mean? Like when we were growing up, we played outside, we did other shit
On
we weren't
concrete.
supposed to do. We had fun. We were kids. Now kids, if you allow them to be kids, they get behind the eight ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think it's a steady line of slowly applying, working out to them and understanding and discipline. And just let them be kids because, we were talking about this before the show started today. Like, I didn't work out and obviously, I made my way and, I understand what I was in the NBA, but I didn't work out for the NBA until I was in the NBA.
Right.
You know what I mean? I played football, baseball, basketball, track in high school. Besides that, I was doing whatever I was doing. So it was never a time where I was like working out for a particular sport because I was always in another sport. Now kids are working out, like I said, 4, 5, 6 days a week at a young age. And I just think eventually these kids are going to burn out,
I wasn't working out for the NBA till NBA had practice. I didn't do nothing until I walked into an NBA practice facility.
What were you doing during your
Chiefing,
downtime?
partying, rock starring, you know me.
You always been a rock star.
Sometimes gang banging.
You always,
already know, I was all over the place.
Part-time.
Part-time.
You wasn't full-time.
I was all over the place, though.
Part-time. No, but like I said, now it's just a different time. You know what I mean?
Time.
And unfortunately, leading to Zion, not saying that the wear and tear, this is the reason, but it could be. You know what I mean? Kids are playing 50 to 60 games. Sometimes some kids are playing on 2 or 3 AU teams during the summertime.
A teenage kid should not, especially a kid in middle school, should not have a trainer.
Right.
I understand teaching them the fundamentals, you know what I mean? But they can't really comprehend what they're working for and what working means. Yeah. When they can get older, like I say, 11th, 12th grade, then I understand around that time they can understand who they're competing against, what they're working for, and what's their goal. As a teenager in the middle school, you don't know what your goal is. You don't know where your life going. So a lot of that stuff be for other people. You know what I mean? And that's not fair to the kid. You gotta let kids be kids, man.
Parents vicariously living through their kids to, push them to something to make them be great. I think
for a financial gain.
Right.
Some of them not even really thinking about their child. They're thinking about it for a financial gain. Ask your kid how they feel if they even want to do it.
But if you think about it, I mean, like I said, we're talking about all these games and how talented kids are because kids are real talented,
yes.
Coming into the game this year. But I really feel like if they're fortunate enough to be those 1% that make it to the NBA, all these younger players in the last, maybe 8 to 10 years, the top picks have had lower extremity injuries.
Too much basketball.
From Ben Simmons to Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Michael Porter Jr., Greg Oden, Blake Griffin, Julius Randle, you know what I mean? And they're that next generation. Theirs wasn't as publicized, so to speak, but those kids started playing a lot of AAU, you know what I mean? So once you get to the league, it's just like, okay, now we really got to play. You know what I mean? And although they're young and they can bounce back faster, I just really feel like there's a lot of wear and tear on these kids at an early age, and it's unfortunate. It's a crazy system that, like I said, if you don't do it, you don't stand a chance. But if you do it, it's almost like it's going to be a burnout.
And the only way to figure that out is make sure everybody's doing it for the right reason. This is what the kid wants to do. Okay, Dad, I'm serious about this. Can you get me a trainer? Keep the kid involved, but don't think you know everything that's best for him because the kid might not want to do it.
Well, they have to want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a good point. I took the Twins last year for their 10th birthday and took them out to Orange County, and Kobe worked them out for their birthday. And I was telling Cole before we got up there, he's like, what are the boys into? How much they work out? And to me, like, I've never been one to make them do shit. Like, if you want to work out, cool. You have all the resources to be 10 times better than me and be successful and everything because, I've provided that. But if you want to fuck around and play on your iPad, play on your iPad.
But your boy is different because They seen a lot.
They got a high basketball IQ. And
they seen a lot, bro.
On and off the court.
They got championship rings.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
They seen a lot.
They got a high B-ball IQ, and I think that's what's got them to this point. But as far as skill, they're not where some of their teammates are, some of the kids in their class. But to me, like I said, it goes back to my point. Until they were ready, I wasn't going to force them. You know what I mean? And right when we walked to the gym, these little motherfuckers are playing on their iPads, and then they see Kobe and lose their mind because it was a surprise. And then he's, you know, what you guys been up to? And I'm just like, playing on their iPads. And then he's like, well, where you guys going to college? And they both say UCLA at the same time. Say, yeah, you guys would go to UCLA, but not to play basketball. And they looked at him like, huh?
You know,
and he's just like, you got to work.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? You got to work. And now, since then, it's been a steady progression of, you know, Dad, you know, let's shoot, or let's go dribble and let's do that. And I love it. You know, when they're ready to do it, I'll work and I'll get them some outside help. But like you said, until they want to do it, making them do it 5-6 days a week, making it a job at this age, I think is the wrong thing to do.
It's crazy. I got a story too. Kobe's farewell tour, last game in Atlanta. I was there to bring my son, my 13-year-old. And that changed his life.
Yeah.
All the people waiting on Kobe, he stood there and talked to my son for about 15 minutes. And you know how many people waiting on him. And it touched my son. You know what I mean? It let him know how much he had to work, and that is the goal is touchable, is reachable now by talking to Kobe Bryant. So, you know, shout out to Kobe for that. He did the same thing for my boy.
But, you know, to speak to that, like I said, I think what's got my boys bound is their IQ. And the best part of my career was the end of my career because the boys were old enough to understand the game. So they're in the locker room with Kobe and Powell and those teams when they're really little.
You can't buy that,
And then they graduate and they get a little older, and then I'm with CP and Blake and DeAndre and JJ and all these guys and Doc Rivers. So they're soaking that up. And then my favorite part was my last season with Golden State, where Coach Kerr was so cool. During the playoffs, they're on the team playing with us. They're in the hotel. We're in the Western Conference Finals against the Houston Rockets, and Isaiah and Carter having a shootout against KD. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit you can't pay for, you can't, you know, teach. It's just that kind of experience. You know what I mean? And I think
we didn't have that growing up.
Hell no.
You know what I mean?
So it's just, like I said, we give them all the opportunity, but to me, make it a process. Let your kid excel and peak at the right time. They peak too early, what's the point?
And let them have an input.